And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the final Esports World Cup 2024 America's Open Qualifier. I'm of course Showside VIP, and it's been an intense couple of days going through the European qualifiers, the Korean, and the Asia qualifiers as well. And now we are here with the final region with the Americas. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Costa Rican Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Team License to Kill, LTK. It is EON. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Teal Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is UpATree. Do I call him UpATree Zelda? Do I? Salito, papi, salito. Let's go. Hi. As we're going for a pool first, let's go. We're going to be opening up with a pool first here from EON. EON, of course, being a hyper-aggressive player. He is known for his aggression. I don't get to cover UpATree, or I don't get to cover Sal too often, so I'm more than happy to embrace him here as he's opening up with a 2-Rax Reaper build. I'm ready. I'm excited. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket is massive, it is stacked, it is full of players. I had a hard time picking and choosing. There is a Duckling in the bracket. Dolan is here, of course. He's going to be competing, and I do want to catch Dolan at some point in this bracket, in this cast. But I'll be honest, I do think that Dolan has some pretty... I don't know if I say easy, but I have some confidence in Dolan in the first couple of rounds. I have a lot of confidence in Dolan that he's going to be fine, he's going to be working his way through the bracket. But we have potential, I think it's in the quarterfinals. We have the potential Trigger versus Dolan match. Trigger versus Dolan, the potential for that, if that does occur around the quarterfinals, then I do want to try to catch that. That is definitely on my radar. That's definitely something that I am paying attention to. So we'll see. For the time being, though, we have our first matchup. And again, EON is a player that we've covered many a time here on the channel, is quite a regular in the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Despite the fact that the event starts at like 5 a.m. his time, he plays anyway. He's a proper degen. He's a proper degen. He plays like an animal, and we'll see how he can compare it to Sal, as Sal is going to be opening up 2-Rax Reaper. Reapers are being sent across the map. The goal here is to contain the Zerg player on 2 bases and to maybe get some economic damage done. But because of the pool first, we already have a Queen. We have Lings on soon to be on the way, as the Lings are going to be active. Lings are chilling here at the Reaper Cliff, of course, to make sure they can catch the Reaper if we overcommit. And for the time being, EON is holding on. We are staying in gas, actually. Interesting. Okay, so we have Link Speed on the way. We're staying in gas. This could be the beginnings of a Bane Bust counterattack, or even to go into earlier Roaches, but you do not mine gas this early on without good reasons. So I'm sure EON has a reason for this. We'll keep an eye on what he spends his gas on. Meanwhile, before that does occur, the Reapers have arrived, poking in towards the natural. This is where I was about to say the downside of this opener for UpATree, for Sal, is that sure, he's containing his opponent. Sure, he's denying the third. There's that baneliness we spoke about, by the way. I was going to say that EON, he doesn't often take a third. Like, like EON, he's like, mate, you want to contain me? That's fine, papi. I was just going to go all in anyway. I was just going to send it. And that's what I'm concerned about here as we're going for a Link Bane Bust. We're going for a flood across the map. EON is going for a massive counterattack, and he's just banking up his Lings, waiting for Link Speed to kick in. There we go. 16 more Lings on the way. And Sal has no idea. Sal, he has not scouted the main base. He is now diving in, but Lings are in position. And the scout is denied. Seeing this amount of Lings is not too much of a tell. It's not enough of a tell here. Ooh, but this might be a little bit premature out of EON. Yeah, he bleeds off a couple of Lings. Looking at the unit that was 2 Lings going down. Every Ling is precious here, and now we're going to be sending it across the map. UpATree, now that Sal, now that we've spotted at Link Speed, is going to be retreating as well, but he gets caught out. Ooh, he gets caught. We get 1, we get 2 Reaper kills. Meanwhile, back at home, what do we have to defend? We have the production, we have the add-ons, of course, exposed to the elements here. We have Stim being researched, but a Bane Bust would knock it down. I'm loving the positioning of the factory. We do have a backup depot on the way. We scout, we confirm. Sal knows. Sal now knows what's going on. He sees a Baneling nest. We need a bunker. We need a bunker behind this. Otherwise, we're going to be able to break through. As here we go. The Banelings are waddling in. I mean, that's a good amount of Marines. We're behind the wall. We can focus on whatever we can. At least the Lings. We go for the depot. Yeah, the depot does go down. We can at least deny Stim. And EON is not droning. He's not droning up. We'll deny Stim at least, but we don't break through the front door. The boys were pulled just so we can repair. And we don't even need the bunker. We are safe. We are sound. The upgrade was denied, but okay, never mind. I was going to say we should have another Rax here in the main. We're going for the starport, so it's going to be 3 CC, 2-on-1 out of Sal. And sure, his stim timing is delayed, but he's fine economically. He's ahead economically. And now EON is joining up. Still has some links to work with, but outside of denying upgrades, we can't really do much more. But of course, that's what we should be looking to do. Alas, now with Hellions, we have some splash damage. It's going to be that much more difficult to deny that stim. But with another round of Bailings, we can get on top of this. EON, meanwhile, droning up as hard as we can. Again, very good reaction to fire to Sal, really good scouting, and to be able to respond and wall off the way that he did. And the positioning of that factory was beautiful. We knocked down the tech lab once again. This is why we usually ideally have, like, you know, either a backup Rax, or we can take a risk and try to lift and float the Rax back to be able to get our add-ons underway. Of course, it is a risk to take. I do think that we should be safe and sound to do so. I mean, regardless, we're getting back into our add-ons, and we're running out of Ling Bane. EON now working towards his lair, working towards his Roach Warren. Okay. We're getting to our next stage, into our next step. Now, EON's drone count is still lackluster. You know, the workers here for EON, they could be in a little bit of a better position here. EON's still droning up. He's investing in Banelings across the map. It looks like he wants to bust in once again. Deny stim. And how long is it going to take for Sal to start stim in the main? No, reactor? Ooh, this should have been a tech. There we go. Now Sal is aware. He recognizes that if we want stim, we don't put it here on the front door. And now it's going to be in the main base. It is delayed, unfortunately, but it's at least on the way. As we clean up the Lings, Sal establishes his third base, and he's looking solid. You know, despite the delay on stim, I mean, you know, we're going to be building up back at home anyway. We can just hit a later timing with 1-1, with maybe even 2-2 later on down the line. And EON, because he knows that stim is so delayed, we should be a little bit greedier. We're making a lot of roaches right now, and the roaches, they won't really help too much. I mean, sure, there are medevacs on the way, and we're going to be getting into drop play, but it's vanilla marines, so we don't actually need that much to defend and that many army units here. But last, EON refuses to drone. Again, it's against his nature to be economic. It's against his nature to drone up, so we're getting ready for a second all-in. First was the Bane bust, which did fail, but now here comes the Roach Ravager Ling all-in. And we do reveal the roaches ahead of time, only a handful of them. Ravagers are soon to arrive, Lings are floating across the map. And EON, his goal here is to pile down these tanks. Remember, there's no stim. The bio army is not looking too threatening. We can deal with it. But there are 2 tanks on the front lines. Ravagers, they push forward. It looks like we do pile down the first tank. First tank does fall, but a second tank has arrived. Ooh. Yeah, big tank bullies here on the Ravagers. We don't get the... Oh, we do barely get the second tank. There's 1 tank left. But where are the reinforcements? We do need support for this. Willing's moving out across the map. Stim not quite done. Otherwise, we could punish the Roach Ravager. We still will. And nice starter stepping here out of Sal. Gets the Roaches. Takes down a Ravager as well. And EON is on the run. Down to 4 Ravagers. But here come reinforcements. We can catch this out. Oh, keeping another Ravager. Here we go, 1 more. What a us? Oh, not quite. It's a bit of miscontrol there out of Sal. Does target down his own medevac, but he will trade well and start step well against the Lings. And now he goes for the Ravagers, and he will clean this up. Stim is now done. With the power of Stim, we shut down the Roach Ravager. And Sal is looking strong. I mean, he maintains his third base. He was able to hold the line, of course, protect his third, now taking a 4th. Stim has completed that window, that timing that EON had before Stim finished. It's now gone. It is now gone, and EON is in a world of hurt. Remember, it took him so long to saturate this third base, and even then, we're stuck on 49 workers, like barely 2 base, or barely 3 base saturation, under 3 bases even. And now Sal is looking to snowball out of control, pushing onto creep, cleaning up these tumors, going for a Doom Jump here towards the left-hand side, and yeah, there's no world where we can save this 4th base. We're just pulling EON apart. He's in position here with his roaches, at least. Yeah, Sal doesn't want to take the fight. Does pick up, does get the hell out of there. But at the same time, the double jump in the natural base is getting out of hand. We pick off the queens, the roaches, the mineral line. We're going for the drones. And at the same time, we unload into the main, and EON not in position. We're not ready for this. The drop is going to be cleaned up, and here comes the Doom drop into the main. And these roaches, they can't keep up. We can focus them down. And even if UpATree gets forced back here, I mean, he's traded well enough. And he's going to get all the roaches. We're going to get all the roaches. 3 roaches remaining here. Queen under fire as well. We pick up the queen. Sal gets the hell out of there. And we're just building up towards our actual push. Remember, this was just drop play. The tanks are still being piled up back at home. We have our bio, our marauders. The rest of the army is building up. This is not even Sal's final form. And again, because of the failed all-ins from EON, that's why things are looking so dire for our Costa Rican Zerg player. As he's the one that opted not to make workers, and in the long run, it is hurting him. It is killing him. Now, working towards infestors, and infestors are an interesting addition here to this army. Alas, even if we're down in army supply, even if things are looking dire for the Zerg, 1 or 2 good fungals with the combination of bios, we can clean up a bio army. But I just did mention with the combination of bios, and we don't actually have that. It's only pure roach. Fungals will help. They're a great supportive tool for the Zerg army, but we need something to support is the problem, and these roaches are not going to be it. It's not going to be enough. We're steaming on forward. The fungal will connect. Big fungal. We have the chain fungals even. Oh, the brain's getting low, and oh, we take them down. The triple fungal did quite a lot there, but there's nothing else. There's 4 roaches. Despite how amazing the fungals were, we did need more. As the 3rd base goes down, we peel off in towards the 4th. And Sal is looking to break through and looking to take his first win here in the qualifier. The infestors, they get caught out. GG and UpATree. Sal will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Sal will take the first game here, but of course EON, he was the one that opted to go for these all-ins. They got scouted, they got spotted ahead of time, so Sal was able to react, able to respond, able to shut them down, especially early on with the Bane Bust. The Bane Bust denied upgrades, but did not get more than that, and we needed more, and from there Sal snowballed out of control. But now we're getting ready for our next game, and after that first game, I want to believe that EON is now a little bit more prepared for his opponent, is a little bit more, I say prepared, maybe a little bit more aware of the capabilities of Sal, and may take a different approach instead. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I expect aggression. I still expect aggression out of EON, but I'm sure a different form of aggression is on the table. We'll see what we go for. We shall see. As we're getting ready for game number 2 on Crimson Court. Meanwhile, I'm catching up in the chat. I'm catching up. How was your nap? Oh, I slept for like, how many hours? 4 or 5 hours? I had a good bench. Good sleep. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty well rested, and I do need to be because we do have another cast after this. As a reminder, it's going to be the EWC qualifier into the Korean StarCraft League. The KSL is in a couple of hours, and we will be jumping on that series or on that tournament cast afterwards. But here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of the Crimson Court. We have our Costa Rican Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing License to Kill LTK. It is EON. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the blue Terran player. The Canadian, I think. I believe the Canadian Terran representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is UpATree, Zelda, Sal. It's Canadian, right? Let me just double check that. Yeah, he's Canadian. Okay. I wasn't too sure, Pappy. Wasn't too sure. Oh. Here we go, is already up in this series, and this time going for a much more standard opener. There is no 2-Rax Reaper being thrown down by Sal. Instead, it is going to be what looks to be a Rax Expand. So we're going to be calming things down and easing things up here from the side of at least a Terran player. Meanwhile, EON across the map going for an interesting build, going for a hatch first this time. Remember, it was a pool first in game 1. It's going to be a hatch first into a pool. No gas, not yet. And I'm curious if we're going for a gasless opener. It looks like we are. Okay, so we prioritized gas in the previous game, and it ended up going into a Ling Bane Bust. True. This time, no gas. The polar opposite of game 1 is here in game number 2. Now, the way this works with a gasless build is that we have to rely on queens. We're heavily reliant on queens to defend early on against Hellion and Reaper aggression. As you can imagine, without any gas, no link speed. No link speed available here for EON, which means keeping up with Hellions and keeping up with Reapers is going to be difficult. We have to have map vision and map control to be able to keep up with the rotations of Sal and to minimize losses. Essentially, if the queens are ever out of position, then Sal, with his 1-1-1, with his Hellions, will be able to dive into a mineral line and punish EON. And we can punish EON quite hard. So, again, it's all about positional play, it's all about the queens, all about the control. So we'll see if EON can get away with this. Usually with a gasless opener, this leads into roach play. Like, because your link speed is going to be so late, because your Baneliness is going to be so late, we just ignore Link Bane and we just go straight into roach play. That's typically the case here with this build of choice. Meanwhile, it's going to be 3cc into a 1-1-1, so a very economic variation here out of Sal, which is fine. We can still punish a Zerg player with this opener as we're going for the add-on swap and investing into our Hellions. Hellion's going to be on the way, and it's going to be on Sal to create an opening, not just create an opening, but recognize how greedy EON has been. Otherwise, Sal may just be a little bit too passive, a little bit too tentative, and then EON will be able to take advantage of Sal and get away with the greed. Gases are now being taken. We're going to be prioritizing the gas income quite heavily. We're actually taking gases earlier than usual. Usually, we wouldn't take these gases until we're fully saturated at the natural at least. So, this is an interesting variation out of EON. It was a gasless opener into a fast third, true, but yeah, we're getting into these gases sooner than I thought, and that means that these roaches are going to be a lot faster as well. It looks like we're building up towards a roach push. Again, otherwise this roach horn would be far later. It would be far later, the gases would be later, and we'd be a little bit greedier instead. So we'll see how hard EON commits. I'm feeling like a 9 roach push and a 9 roach timing, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on EON, as Hellions have hit the field. Behind this, getting 3cc into Banshee, no cloak for the time being. Hellions are being active. And we'll see what we can get done. Do poke in. Oh! We go for the larva. Last we do morph in those roaches just in time. I spoke about 9 roaches. We're making 11 roaches. That's a lot of roaches here for EON. EON not even fully saturated on 2 bases. Now is droning up, but I believe he should be pushing with these roaches. They're not defensive roaches, I should say, as that's quite a lot. Now with the move outs, there's potential for damage. If we can catch out the Hellions or even catch them out of position, we do see, yeah, the Hellions, they do meet the roaches. They are revealed. And you can see EON even trying to intercept. Oh my god. Almost. Sal does respond. He does react in time. He pulls away. Roaches are moving out, and the Banshee has arrived. The Banshee will eventually clean this up. But how long will it take? As the roaches are pushing in towards the natural, the wall is open. Hellions having a hard time engaging. And yeah, we are going to be pushing in towards the natural, looking for economic damage. How many SCVs can we get? How many workers can we kill? So far, it's okay. We're getting 3 SCVs. Loving the kiting here from Sal. Does distract a good chunk of those roaches. Yeah, the roaches, they turn back around. And these here will be cleaned up. This is not good enough. We get 3 SCV kills for 11 roaches. And now the Hellions are getting across the map and they can annihilate the mineral line. The barbecue is real. We get 6 drones. We're not done. We get 7. We get 8. 9. And almost 10. 9 drone kills compared to the 3 SCVs that went down. Sal, he defends. He attacks. He's looking strong. He does take a lead here. Again, the earlier roach push of EON was not successful enough, bearing in mind that EON did cut worker production to make this happen, so his economy is lackluster, and EON has some recovery to do. Now, right now, we are taking this moment and this opportunity to drone, so I do appreciate that. We're droning up. We're taking up into a Hydra Den. Interesting choice. I'm curious if this is going to be for Lurker tech. I'm curious if we're going to go Roach Hydra, or we're going to rush into like a Hive and Lurker production instead. We'll see what EON does embrace. For now, it looks to be Roach Hydra. Interesting. We're investing in both upgrades here. We're investing, of course, into +1 range. This can lead into Lurkers later on down the line, but for now, Roach Hydra is the composition of choice. Likewise, the creep is looking good. you know, praise where praise is due, of course. The creep is looking solid. We're connecting the bases. Not just that, we're also pushing on towards the center of the map. Banshees, despite the opener, we haven't achieved too much damage with them. The most of these kills on this one Banshee was, of course, defending against roaches across the map. And the Banshees haven't dealt much economic damage yet. There's the Infestation Bit on the way. I imagine this is going to be for a hive, but this could also be for infestors. Again, just to support the army, depending on how threatened EON does feel. Banshees do rotate. They get eyes on the mining workers. So far, EON does respond. Across the map, third base getting up and running. Sal is able to saturate that base. So far, mining that third. Banshees will be heading into the main. They're finally damage being done. We catch out 3 drones. 3 workers go down. Nice damage here by Sal. Honestly, he didn't even need to get damage done just because the Hellions were so successful earlier, but these Banshees, they do pose a threat, and they have a lot of potential to get Sal into an even better position. Back at home, working towards 1-1. We have the armory for 2-2. Sally's keeping up, and now being active with drop play. Oh boy, now it's on Sal to clear up this creep to maintain control of the map. Let's see if EON can keep up. We spoke about the infestation bit earlier, and it looks like it is for the hive. We're not going for safety infestors. It's on the way. I just have arrived at. Oh, we pick up a medevac. Thankfully, the more empty medevac here for Sal. Does preserve most of his bio. Dropping across the map at the same time, EON pushing in towards the third. And are we in position? The tanks are a little bit further back. Pick up the Cyclone. We get in towards the mineral line. Oh, but the tanks, they just annihilate the roaches. Oof. Bit of an overextension there from EON. Thankfully, he preserves the Hydras. Flees out roaches, preserve the Hydras, backs off. At the same time, drop into the natural. We're not ready for this. We're not ready for the drop. 5 drones go down. That's already good damage. And we're going to get even more. The Spore, the Queen? Not quite the Queen. The drop will get away. Likewise, Banshees hitting the third base. 8 drone kills in total. We get eyes on the fourth. Well, the Banshee will finally be shut down. EON has 1 less thing to worry about. Shuts down the Banshee. Can drone up, but Sal has taken that worker lead. And we should soon be pushing. You know, this entire time we've seen Sal harass with Hellions, with Banshees, with drop play. And we've been building up that main army. We have 4 tanks currently, soon to be 5 tanks. And we're waiting for that eventual move out. For now, Sal's still just focusing on drop play, clearing up creep, and just setting himself up for his push. Laying the groundwork here. The Queens will be quick to respread that creep. I was about to say that they're exposed. Meanwhile, we're going pure Hydra. Scarlet, is that you? Okay. Pure Hydra here out of EON. Will shut down the medevacs. Nicely done. We don't quite save the Queens, but they did manage to get down the tumors just in time. And here we go, Mass Hydra from EON. You don't see this too often. We saw this out of Starkiller earlier this week. My apologies. Earlier this week in ESL Open Cup Americas. Was a lot of fun seeing Starkiller also go Mass Hydra Viper. Scarlet was very fond of this playstyle and very fond of this build. Was it last year, I want to say? Like beginning of last year, even the year before that. Going Mass Hydra against Terran, Hydra Viper even. With mixed success. Basically, it can do quite well. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Sal is going very tank heavy, which is ideal against this kind of composition. And Mass Hydra doesn't scale amazingly into a longer game. Yeah, big tank volleys going off. We have the high ground. Nice Blinding Cloud, though. We catch 3 tanks. And with this, we're going to be able to push on forward. We barely don't get the first tank. Ooh, and now I'm a little bit concerned. Now, EON's going to be in trouble. We pull back to the tank line. Big volleys going off. 1 tank goes down. At the same time, drop towards the left-hand side. The armies did clash, but nothing here in position to defend. The 4th base is going to survive, but we get 8 drone kills, and the drops make it out. And what I'm concerned by is that we only have 1 Viper. Only 1 Viper, and it's got a lot of work to do. I mean, the Blinding Cloud earlier was good, but what would have been amazing there? Some abductions, some yoinks, some extra Blinding Clouds as well. 1 Viper is not going to be enough. This army needs more support. We deny the center base. Ultras are on the way. That's an interesting option. I say interesting because there are no melee upgrades. We have Carapace, sure, but we have +0 melee to work with, so these ultras, they aren't going to be as ideal. I thought that we were going to be working towards lurkers, but I guess ultras make more sense against a tank-heavy composition. Lurkers, they have a hard time really sieging a siege unit, so that is less than ideal. But really, more than anything, I would love to see more Vipers. Speaking of, nice Blinding Cloud once again. Like, the Blinding Clouds have been solid. The army has been bunching up, but it's only ever one Blinding Cloud at a time is the problem. It's the Viper's overworked. It's like it's got so much to do. I can feel the stress of the Viper. He's like, ah. Sees a line of tanks and knows its job, but only has enough energy for the one Blinding Cloud. Meanwhile, the Hydra's gonna be able to force back the army. We're getting on top of the tanks. There we go. The tanks are going down. Just not enough bio, not enough support for those tanks. And Sal is being cleaned up. Meanwhile, across the map, the drop was okay. We got 5 drone kills, but that's a line of spores if I've ever seen one. The drop is shut down, and here we go. EON going for a big counterattack. Sal bled out too much. We lost all the tanks. And without tanks, what do we have left? We have Marines, we have Marauders, but we have no backbone to this army. I mentioned before that pushing into these tank lines was going to be difficult, but now never mind. We don't actually need any Vipers. Not anymore. Boys are being pulled. The Mass Hydra breaking through. A tank has arrived, but it may just be too little too late. The Mass Hydra, it's working, Pappy. Let's go. More SCVs going to be pulled off the mineral line, and 18 workers go down. We collapse on the main army. GG gets called. The Mass Hydra overwhelms, and EON takes game number 2, tying us up 1-1. GG. GG, well played. UpATree was doing very well, very nicely, especially with his drop play, with his harass, with the initial move out as well. But we saw that UpATree did bleed out too many Marines and Marauders. And what does that mean? That means that we just did not have enough support, and have enough, specifically when I say support, have enough buffer for his tank line. His tank line was solid, but we do need something in front. We do need something to help keep the army at bay and allow the tanks to gain value over time. And we saw that we bled out a little bit too much, and as we were bleeding out, Sal kept pushing, and we saw that Sal eventually was overwhelmed out towards the top left hand corner of the map. Again, the drops were doing amazingly. We do have to praise Sal for his drop play, but yeah, again, did kind of peter out towards the end there. And once the tank count was reset, that was game. That was game then and there. This takes far too long to replenish those tanks, and we had nothing else to kind of fall back on. There were no Liberators, there were no Ghosts, just Bio tank. Or really just Bio, no more tank. GG. GG, well played. We're going all the way to the ace match, which is what I hoped for, which is what I dreamed of here. Both players are doing well for themselves, and only one can advance on, which is a bit of a shame. I would love to see both Sal and EON make it through, but there's only enough room for one of them to make it into the next round. Best of luck. Best of luck. We have our game 3. It's going to be Ghost River between EON and Sal. Oh, very small map, very aggressive map here as well. Very aggressive. Catching up in the chat. Vamos, vamos, papi, vamos. Sounds like Eric not there. Yeah, unfortunately. I was messaging Eric a couple of days ago, and he said that he was uncertain if he would be available. So it is a bit of a shame. Would have been amazing to have seen Eric, but unfortunately not available here today to compete. Yeah, feels bad, man. At least we have Dolan. But no Eric. EON is from the US, right? I believe he's living in the US, but his nationality is Costa Rica, which is why he plays in the Latin American events whenever he can. Plays for Latino America. Get that quack into my veins. Ah, let's go. Oh. As looks like we're getting some updates as well. So we are getting some updates, some interesting updates here, and we'll go over it later. We'll go over it after this series. We'll go over it after this best of. Shout out to Enki. Enki's also covering this series in Spanish. If you did want to check this out, this event in Espanol, papi. in Castellano, Kappa. You can check it out over on Enki's channel, and then Mosso himself. Enki's casting. I'm sure we have some other language casters as well. Is Cosmos here? Like, there's a lot of Brazilian representation. It's a bit of a shame, but I think Cosmos is not casting today. It would have been really cool. I was surprised to see we have Yen. We have Yen. I was gonna say Yanji. We have Yen. We have Master. We have Inexorable, Kamikaze, Kelazur as well. Like, the Brazilian representation in this tournament is quite high. It would have been amazing to have seen Cosmos follow some of these players and follow some of these matches, but I don't think he's here today. Bit of a shame, but you know, I hope that they do get covered. I hope they get casted. Definitely worth being the case. As we're getting into game number 3, the ace match between these two players, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have our red Zerg player representing Team License to Kill, LTK. It is EON. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Teal Terran player representing Psystorm Gaming from the land of Canada. It is Sal. UpATree Zelda himself. Let's go. And it looks like once again we're seeing the beginnings of a 2-Rax Reaper. So it looks like 2-Rax Reaper here out of Sal. Going for something more aggressive once again. Has a lot of potential. And it may even force another all-in out of EON. Speaking of all-in, talking about the kind of setup of that last game as well, EON was all-in. He went down to like 55 drones. He barely had an economy. EON was one and done with that Hydra Ultra push, and it was quite successful. I mean, hey, it was able to break through the defensive line and break down Zelda, UpATree. Sal. It feels weird calling him UpATree. Was able to break through Sal in the end. For now, hatch, gas, pool. Okay. Much more standard opener this time here. Out of EON. And we'll see what we embrace. We are going to be prioritizing gas income though. Interesting. So if I'm not mistaken with this opener, I think the gas was slightly earlier than usual, so we can get slightly faster link speed. Assuming it's going to be for link speed. As the Overlord does confirm the 2-Rax Reaper build. And Reapers should be on the horizon. And as a reminder, the goal of this opener is to deny the natural and contain the Zerg player. If we can pick off a drone or two, I mean, that's going to be a bit of a bonus for Sal. But really all we want is to stifle the economy and get into our own 2-1-1. Now, we saw in the previous game that because of the follow-up Bane bust, UpATree or Sal, he was denied stim for quite some time, and that did give EON a fighting chance. We'll see if that's going to be the case this time here. We'll see if we stay in gas, as we are staying in gas. Link speed is on the way, and we have not pulled out. What does this mean? Most likely Baneling Nest. Most likely we're getting ready for a Bane bust once again. And on a map like Ghost River, it's going to hit that much faster and that much harder. And once again, the add-ons are going to be exposed. So a bit of an unfortunate setup here for Sal. We're getting to our natural base. Reapers have arrived. They're, of course, making sure there's no expansion. EON is banking up gas. And we're just waiting for the moment here to commit. Oh, as we're going for a 4x follow-up. I like this. Okay. We're not going economic, we're going aggressive here. We have a 3rd and 4th Rax on the way. This is going to be a very strong, very powerful stim timing. Also, because of these backup Raxes in the back line, it does mean that if these add-ons get shut down, we do already have some Raxes set up to throw down those add-ons ahead of time here in the main to restart that stim. Meanwhile, Lings are amassing. We're not droning. EON, he's not droning up. We're amassing more and more Lings. Link speed is done. We have plenty of gas to work with. And where's that Baneling Nest? Again, I would have thought we would have already seen it. Sal coming in for the scout. Is shut down. I mean, there's nothing really to scout. We do get eyes on the continued gas mining. And it is not Baneling Nest. We're going for the lair. Okay. We're rushing into the lair instead. This, I hope, is not Mutas. If it was Spire Tech, then we would be able to shut this down quite hard with our 4-Rax. This could be for a Nidus-based all-in, for a Nidus storm into the main. I mean, hey, look at this Overlord. We're primed. We're ready for a Nidus. Meanwhile, Lings, they get across the map. They're getting on top of that Tech Lab, and the Tech Lab is gonna go down. We deny Stim, but this is what we mentioned. Because of the 4-Rax follow-up, bam, Stim starts up once again instantly in the main. It's gonna be delayed, but is gonna finish up nonetheless. Meanwhile, Overlord speed is on the way. Okay, so I was thinking Nidus Worm, but it could be the other. Nidus Worm or Dropalord. Dropalord is going to be another option here to slip into the main base. Sal has no vision of the main, so regardless of whether it's a Nidus or a Dropalord, damage can be done. We can slip in. Behind this, Eon is droning. Eon is droning up, saturating his bases. Has a good amount of links to work with, but hasn't been able to achieve too much with it yet. Swarm Host? Wait, what? Infestation Pit's on the way. Are we going to be Swarm Host? Eon, he's cooking, Pap. He's cooking. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. As we do have the Infestation Pit, third base now finishing up. We're going to be droning up. We're going to be saturating our base. This has to be Swarm Host, right? Question mark? Regardless of what it is, I think the bio timing, the 4 racks, it might just kill Eon. I mean, we have Lings to defend. We have how many queens? 4. Not enough. We have 4 queens to defend. That's enough to inject. That's not enough to defend. And likewise, no Banelings. We're going for a safety Infestor. The Infestor is going to be so crucial in the defense. Infestor's on the way, but here comes the bio. Remember, it was that 4x timing with Stim. Stim is done in 4 seconds. And once it does finish up, do we have enough to defend? We are amassing more Lings. The army has arrived. Now, this timing was delayed because of this delay on Stim. We get into the mineral line. Drones are going down. And the Lings, how can they engage? We're in the mineral line. We reduce the surface area. Fungal does connect, but there's no follow-up. There's no support here. There's not enough Lings, and it looks like Sal may have just done it. These Lings are trickling in. We will clean this up. Whew. We will barely clean this up, but damage was done. How much did we get? We got 52 Lings, 9 drones, and a queen. That was worth it. We may not have killed Eon, but we have maimed him. We have crippled him. And here comes the second wave. A little bit ambitious here, just because we have additional Infestors on the way. I mean, I'm sure Sal is hoping that maybe his opponent is droning. But we can see that's not the case. Thankfully for Eon, he saw the move out. Did spot the move out. We see the scan ahead of time. We're going for the army. There's potential. Lings are trying to engage. Fungal does connect. And we barely hold once again. The Infestor pops out just in time. And now Sal has to back off. He has to back off. He has to calm down. Hive is on the way. What is going on? Are we rushing into Ultras? I mean, I guess the Hive could just be for Adrenal. I'm curious. Eon, what do you got? What do you have for us? Very curious. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see Sal working and building up towards his own tank production. So far as well, we're on 5 Raxes. We're getting into our 5-1-1. What's interesting here is that there's no third CC. No third CC inside for Sal, so he's going for a 2-base all-in. And the Overlord will confirm. Ooh, the tank did get stuck for a moment. The Overlord dives into the bases, gets eyes on all the production, and gets eyes on the lack of third CC. So this is a tell for Eon not to drone. And this is what I'm concerned about for Sal, is that Eon is known for being hyper-aggressive and not droning up to begin with. And he's hoping that maybe Eon is being too greedy here. But it's Eon we're talking about. I mean, he is being greedy in a sense. I mean, Hive tech, right? That's crazy. Like, tech-wise, he's being greedy. Bane the Nest on the way. Hive is done. Adrenals in production as well. So we're going to be embracing Cracklings quite early on. Adrenal on the way. Drop into the natural. Gets shut down. Eon does defend. Is going to be able to defend, and for the time being, we're rushing into Ultras. Oh my god, off of 51 workers. He's crazy. Okay. We're rushing into Ultras. Bold move. Baneling speed is now on the way, thankfully. And hopefully we'll finish up in time. And against a very bio-heavy army like Eon, I kind of like what he has, right? He's going to have Ling Bane, he's going to have Adrenal, he's going to have 2-2, and Fungals. Really, it's going to come down to the Fungal growths. If the Fungals connect, then Eon can shut down this army. If they don't, then the game will end. I mean, regardless of what happens, the game is about to end. Remember, no third CC. 2-base all in here out of Sal. Either he kills Eon or he dies trying. It's all going to come down to this one push. We're clearing up creep, rotating over. EON getting ready. I'm concerned we don't have enough banelings. Only 10 banelings. We have 3 infestors. 1 fungal each. The army is slowly sieging forward, and baneling speed finishing up just in time. Drop into the main. We'll distract the forces. And now we can push forward. We can try. Can try. Focusing down the first tumor. Ling Bane rolling in. We do kite back. And so far, nice kiting here out of Sal. The fungal does connect, but the Lings, oh, they're not here. They're not in time. Yeah, we shut down the Ling army. We shut down the banelings, and we're pushing forward. The fungal was good, but just not enough on the ground. Fighting off a creep was brutal. Now UpATree is pushing forward. The Liberator, the tanks are encroaching on the third base of EON, but Ultras are on the way. And we're just massing up more Lings. We still have fungal growths as well. I'm not too sure if UpATree has enough. It's going to be close. Lings, they wrap around from behind. They get on top of the tanks. Both tanks going to be going down. We do make use of the Liberation Zone, but here comes the Ultra. The Ultra comes in. We swipe away at the bio, and EON will clean this up. Here come reinforcements. Another phone connects. The one Ultra. The one Ultra, baby. He's holding. He takes down the tank. We take down the Liberator, and EON holds. EON behind this has a better economy. He's on 4 bases, 54 workers, no throw TC for Sal. He can lift up his main if need be, but that's really the only option for the Terran. He was completely all in, all or nothing, still all in. But the scary thing right now is that we preserve the Infestors, right? Well, I should say Infestor. We preserve the Infestor. We still have our Ultra as well. Creep is respreading. Creep is respreading here, and Sal needs to get damage done. Economic damage specifically. We got eyes on the 4th. We're pushing on forward. Going for the mineral line. But EON does keep up. Oh, yo, we have the token Swarm Host. Let's go. Mentioned earlier that Swarm Host could be an option, and I mean, it's there. It's coming. Spire as well. I would love to see a Viper instead. I mean, we have a Hive. We have a Hive. Parasitic bombs are a great way to make to shut down these drops. That's typically how players take up if they do go Ling Bane Ultra, is towards Vipers. The medevac! No! Full medevac goes down. Massive pickup, and then Queens, they shut down another medevac as well. EON making use of what little he has. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, the drop does come in. 2 drone kills, not bad. It's some damage, but again, there's still just no longevity here for Sal. I mean, we can't throw down a 3rd CC. It's too late. It's too late for that. If we try to, I mean, we're just gonna get rolled over. Again, the best option would just be to lift the main, just to maintain the all-in. But the longer this goes on, the better it becomes for EON. We have Infestors, Lings, Ultras. We have a Fungal as well, soon to be 2. And now EON, he's done being the defender. He's now moving out. I say that, pulls back. The drop does keep him pinned. Corruptor's on the way. Corruptors will shut this down. Okay, they're just going to be enough to shut down the nuisance that has been this drop. And hopefully we don't overinvest. Meanwhile, the main base does lift. It's going to be landed as the 3rd. Getting a bit of a desperation move here out of Sal, but it's his only option. It's the only thing he can really do here to maintain his economy. Oh, and look at how oversaturated we are, because we're running out of resources here in the natural. We are running out. Oh, yo, shout out to these 3 Marines. 2 more drones. Let's go. We got 2 more worker kills. Corruptors will clean this up, finally. And now here comes a push. Now, Sal has a comparable army. He can make this work. Fighting off of creep. Liberator does siege. Ling Bane rolling forward. Or Ling Bane Ultra even. Bungles are going to be connecting, grazing the army. Ooh, better connection towards the end. We clean this up. GG gets called. EON swallows up the army of Sal, and we'll take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. EON will take the series. My condolences to Sal. He had a great series. He had a great performance. And honestly, here in game number 2, he was looking solid himself. Like, I was so convinced that Sal was going to get a 2-0 here. But we spoke about it, right? He did overextend. He did overstay his welcome out on the map. He got punished for it. And here in game number 3, it was a little bit more in favor of EON, where he was able to defend against the first 4 acts. That was the scariest moment for EON, and Sal decided to double down and commit to the all-in. Did commit to the all-in post 4 acts, and alas, just wasn't able to catch EON. EON having a wild response himself, going for fast ultras. Crazy. Crazy, man, crazy. GG, well played. And with that, we can... Oh, sorry, my apologies. Looks like the logo wasn't showing out of game. Bam, there we go. With that, we have some catching up to do. We can catch up on the bracket. Exclamation mark B. If you guys want to have a look yourselves, let's refresh and go over some of these updates, as there have been a lot of updates already.